The air hung heavy, incense smoke thick and choking. Valerius, a Roman legionary, knelt, cold dread gripping his heart. Though no stranger to battle, to the visceral dance of life and death, here in this cavern of shadows and whispers, fear took a new form. It was the chill of the unknown, the weight of an ancient power, older than Rome itself. He had pledged an oath, a desperate plea in the face of certain defeat. The words echoed in the cavern, resonating with power that felt both ancient and terrifyingly alive. A promise of victory, a pact sealed in blood. Little did Valerius know, victory would come at a price, his humanity, his very soul. The hooded figure before him, a conduit to the old gods, smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It spoke of power, of ancient pacts, and terrible prices. Valerius felt a chill. The oath was binding. He was bound to an ancient power, to a destiny he could not yet comprehend. Valerius was a soldier, born into it. He knew the weight of the gladius in his hand, the feel of the sun on his face. He had marched beneath the banner of Rome, his loyalty unquestioning. He dreamt of glory, of returning home a hero. He was a man of simple taste, finding solace in the camaraderie of his fellow soldiers. He dreamt of a quiet life, of a wife, of children, of a life lived in the warm embrace of family. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Then came the war, brutal and unforgiving. The legions marched north into the heart of Germania, into a land of dense forests and harsher gods. It was there they met their match, tribes united against them, fierce and unrelenting. Valerius fought with the fury of a cornered wolf. He tasted victory and defeat in equal measure. Each battle chipped away at his hope, at the dreams he held close. The war dragged on. Each victory felt hollow, each loss a heavy blow. He yearned for home, for the warmth of the Italian sun. But the war had other plans, drawing him deeper into its bloody embrace. The air crackled with tension. The stench of blood and fear was overpowering. Valerius and his decimated legion were surrounded. Germanic tribesmen, their faces painted with the colours of war, pressed in from all sides. They were outnumbered, outmatched. The ground was littered with the bodies of friend and foe alike, and every clang of steel was a death knell. A hope dwindled with each fallen comrade. The centurion, his face a mask of grim determination, rallied his men, but even his voice held a tremor. Defeat was a breath away. It was then that Valerius saw it, a hidden path, a way out. He pointed it out to the centurion, a glimmer of hope in the deafening chaos, but the path was too narrow. Someone had to hold back the enemy to buy them time. It was a suicide mission. Valerius didn't hesitate. He volunteered. He knew the risk, the sacrifice it demanded, but he also knew the lives that hung in the balance. His sacrifice would buy his brothers in arms a chance at survival. He drew his sword, ready to face his fate. The cave was cold, damp, the air thick with the scent of mildew and something ancient. Fear gnawed at Valerius's resolve. He stood before the hooded figure, his heart pounding against his ribs. The hooded figure chanted the words ancient, guttural. The air shimmered, power crackled around him, raw and untamed. It felt like stepping into the heart of a storm. He felt a searing pain, a burning cold that spread from his chest outwards. His vision blurred, his knees buckled. Metal shrieks, the chilling sound of steel grinding against steel. He looked down, his breath catching in his throat. His skin was gone, replaced by cold, unyielding iron. He was encased in armor, but it wasn't armor, not anymore. It was alive. Or rather, it was him and he was it. Panic welled up inside him. He tried to scream, but no sound escaped his lips, only the grinding of metal on metal. He was trapped. a prisoner in his own body. The price of his oath exacted with terrifying precision. He was a prisoner of his own making. Gone was the feel of the sun on his skin, the taste of wine, the warmth of human touch. He was a prisoner in his own body, his senses dulled by the cold, unyielding iron. He saw the world through slits in his helmet, a distorted, metallic view. He tried to scream, to cry out, but his voice was trapped, echoing hollowly within his metal confines. His every move was a symphony of clangs and scrapes, a constant reminder of his imprisonment. He was a living statue, a testament to his sacrifice. He was sent back to Rome, a hero, but his victories rang hollow in his ears. The cheers of the crowds were a distant murmur, muffled by the steel that encased him. He was a spectacle paraded through the streets like a trophy, not a man. He saw the pity in his family's eyes, the fear masked as awe. He longed to comfort them, to assure them he was still there, trapped within the iron shell, but words were a luxury he could no longer afford. Years blurred into decades. Valerius, the hero of Rome, became a relic, a silent guardian, forever standing watch, forgotten by time. He stood guard at the emperor's palace, a silent sentinel, his existence a torment, a never-ending cycle of duty and despair. He had long given up hope. His only companions, the ghosts of his past, his memories. And then he heard it. A whisper, faint as a breath, yet sharp as a dagger. It spoke of a way out, of breaking the curse. A glimmer of hope in the endless darkness. The whispers came in the dead of night, slithering through the cracks of his despair. They spoke of a hidden oracle, a being of immense power, an oracle who could see past the veil of fate, who held the key to his salvation. Hope, once extinguished, flickered back to life. He clung to the whispers. They were his lifeline, the only thing keeping him from the abyss of despair. He vowed to find this oracle, to break free from his metallic prison. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, he had a purpose. His journey was long and arduous, a silent pilgrimage across mountains and valleys, guided by the whispers that echoed in his mind. He was a ghost, haunting the fringes of civilization. His fearsome appearance, once a source of pride, now instilled fear and awe in those who crossed his path. He reached the oracle's grove, a place of serene beauty, untouched by the passage of time. The air hummed with a strange energy, a palpable sense of power. In the center stood a towering oak, its branches reaching towards the heavens. The oracle was not what he expected, no wizened crone or shrouded figure, but the tree itself. Its voice, when it spoke, was the rustling of leaves, the whisper of the wind. It spoke of trials, of facing the guardians of ancient powers. It spoke in riddles, each word a puzzle, a piece of a larger mystery. He had to prove his worth, to show that his spirit, though imprisoned, was not broken. His escape lay in deciphering the oracle's cryptic pronouncements. The trials were unlike anything he could have imagined. Tests of strength, of cunning, of spirit. He battled mythical beasts in the darkest of forests, faced illusions that tore at the remnants of his sanity, each trial pushing him to the brink of despair. He stood before towering giants, their voices like thunder. He navigated labyrinths that shifted and twisted, testing his resolve at every turn. He faced down the spirits of legend, their touch ethereal, their power immense. Through it all, he clung to the hope of freedom. The memory of his humanity was his shield, the whispers of the oracle, his guide. He was no longer a soldier fighting for Rome, but for himself, for the right to feel the sun on his face. The wind in his hair. Each victory chipped away at the curse that bound him. He could feel the iron loosening its grip. His movements, though still restricted, were less laboured. There was a faint glimmer of light in the darkness. He was winning! The final trial, a test of will. He stood before a fiery chasm, its heat licking at his metallic shell. The air shimmered with heat, making it hard to breathe. The whispers urged him forward, their tone laced with urgency. This was it. He had to jump, to take a leap of faith into the unknown, to trust that the oracle's words held true power. Doubt gnawed at him. What if it was a lie? What if this was the end? He closed his eyes and jumped. The heat engulfed him. He screamed a primal sound of fear and defiance. He felt the iron give way, melting away like ice under a scorching sun. He was falling, falling, falling. And then he was lying on the ground. Grass tickled his skin. He could feel the warmth of the sun on his face. He was human. He had escaped the curse. He was free. But his journey was far from over. He had to find his way back to the world he left behind, a world that had moved on without him, a world he barely recognized, but he was alive and he was free.